was feeling a little bit down. I stopped going out. I stopped writing. I stopped paying bills. Yeah. And I started jogging though. And that made me feel a lot better, and I lost some weight. So that helped out. And I started to realize that the reason I was feeling a little down was that my finances were a mess, and I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to face them. The trouble with not paying bills is that it doesn't just postpone an inevitable thing, it actually makes it worse. There's interest, there are late fees, things aren't getting better. I read recently that 61% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So, okay, those snappers and others, how many people have debt greater than your monthly take-home pay?
Yes.
Wow. Woo! I feel better. But of course you're all fucked.
Thank you.
And I'm fucked. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought I should ask somebody for help. Before I go any further, I'd like to say that I used to work for the Center for AIDS Prevention Studies, and I've done hundreds of surveys of people, men and women, prostitutes and drug addicts. I've asked them about their sexual practices, their sexual partners, their drug use. There's only one question people regularly refuse to answer. What is your annual salary? So there's a little bit of embarrassment about that. So I decided to hire a friend, ask a friend to be a life coach. And he was somebody I'd asked before, and he'd had too many clients at that time, and so this time he was available. And the first time we met, we started to prioritize things, and we realized we had to deal with money, because that was blocking everything else. There was no point in talking about writing or other stuff in my life until we dealt with money. So this is what we found. I have credit card debt of $20,000. My monthly take-home pay is $2,500. Oh, by the way, when I said that they wouldn't answer what their annual income was, I'll tell you, mine is $46,000. But I won't tell you about my sexual practices.
What if we ask nicely?
Yeah. Okay. Rent, which is the biggest part of my expenses, is $1,050. Everything else adds up to about $1,250. So that leaves about $200 for debt repaid. Here's a statement from the Bank of America. If you make no additional charges using this card, and each month you pay only the minimum payment, you will pay off the balance shown on this statement in about 31 years. And the minimum payment for this month is $155. And I'm paying $200. Well, I looked up the Social Security actuarial tables. Oh, I'm 58 years old.
What?
The life expectancy, well, for a group of men who are 58, is 22.26 more years. 31 years. 31 years, 22 years. It doesn't add up. So I hate talking about money. I hate hate dealing with money. I hate planning money. I painted myself into a corner, really. And it'll take 31 years for the paint to dry. The person I asked to be my life coach, by the way, doesn't make his living as a life coach. He's a performance artist and a sex worker. So that's how low I've sunk. My financial advisor is a sex worker. That's how low I've sunk. I'm a failure. The average salary in 2010 for a man with an MA or an advanced degree is $80,000. I never earned $80,000 in my life. Instead, I worked for charities. I had adventures. I went on solidarity brigades to Central America. I worked with refugees in Sri Lanka. I was an international election observer in South Africa in 1994. I wasn't thinking about the future. And the future, this is the future. We're here. And everyone I depended on is dead. My kind old aunts who gave me money are dead. The older men who took me to dinner, to the theater. The older men who took me to France for the summer. We visited the American cemeteries, the World War II cemeteries, because that was their generation. They're all gone. There's nobody left to die who's going to give me a tidy sum of money to help me out with this. I'm now the older man, actually. When I go out with people, they expect me to treat them. So Philip and I had several meetings. We came up with 4 things to help me get out of this. One is, I gotta move. I gotta have a roommate, shared housing. That'll get it down to 800, 700 if I'm lucky. 2, I gotta get rid of junk in preparation for the moving. Old furniture that was in the closet. Boxes of papers from this MA in religion I never finished. Bags of drag that I'm never gonna wear again. And this 6-foot-tall giraffe that I bought on Valencia Street from this guy who needed money for speed. I sold that. I'm looking for a second job. I had one month before in the evenings. That would increase this line. And what's the 4th thing? Don't plan any trips until I've actually saved the money for the item. Don't buy something until you actually have the money to buy it. Amazing. And that'll be a big help. So the other night, I was jogging, and there was this guy across the street, a young black guy talking on his cell phone. He walked over, joined me. He said, "Where are you from?" And there's a long answer and a short answer. I mean, the long answer is, I was born in Trinidad. My mother's family are Muslim Indians from North India. My father's from New York. His family is German and Scottish. I was brought up in Latin America, the south of the US, in Britain. The short answer is, I live here. I'm just running around the block. He said, "Where your money at?" That sounded very political. Like, does he want me to recommend a bank or a credit union? is he interested in my commitment to investing in the United States? Or is he just trying to intimidate me? So I kept running. And thinking, where your money at?